You can't make this stuff up. They're shelling out more than $500,000 to send 100 employees to a conference at a fancy hotel in Chicago. It actually happened a few weeks ago. Now, they said at the time it was really a good investment, but entrepreneur, Hall of Fame NFL quarterback, apparently with some Minnesota something or another. Anyway, Fran Tarkenton isn't so sure about that. Fran, it's so good to see you again.
It's good to be here.
What do you make of this?
Unbelievable. $6,400 per person to go to a 4-day convention. That's what...
It's a hell of a convention.
IBM doesn't spend that. Microsoft doesn't spend that. This is the taxpayers' money, and it's another example of government wasting our money. What's up with this?
This is a way, this is the hotel in Chicago where this was. But, you know, maybe the idea was you have to entertain to draw business. Maybe they did draw business. Maybe the conference drew more conferences and crowds.
You and I've been to conventions and shows and this. I don't even know why they have them. This is a mortgage bankers convention, and they go there and they all drink it up and they eat it up and they socialize and they smooze and so forth.
Do they get business from it?
No. I've never, I don't go to them anymore.
Really?
Back in my younger years.
They had good food, I'll go.
I don't go. I don't
Really?
go. Yeah, but you go to those places, they have great food. They have great buffets, and they just take all the food. In the first 30 minutes of a buffet, the food's gone, the food is gone, and that's what it's about. But think about this. A government agency now, $6,400 a person. This is outrageous.
But flip it around then. When the president was going after companies for spending money and going to Las Vegas, remember that?
Yeah.
And I remember you weren't too happy with that, saying that he was putting a chill on convention business and all. So what's the difference here? That this is just a taxpayer-funded entity?
Well, I think the whole notion of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac is a disaster anyway. And everybody in the country knows it's a disaster. It's a disaster for both on the Republican side, Democrat side, for years.
Well, we can't get rid of it.
No, gosh, we need to get rid of it. But I don't know.
But you know we can't because they account for 90% of our mortgages.
I know it.
So it's there to stay.
But whenever we have the government get more involved, the worse it gets. And this is another example of the government taking control of these agencies, and it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. And we need to understand that the private sector works best on its own.
Do you think the private sector is rebounding a little bit? Do you think that the mood here in the country is getting better? Because I always argue that's looking better for the president.
You know what? The resiliency of the private sector is amazing to me. I'm an entrepreneur, but we have more innovation and creativity going on in this country now than maybe any time in my lifetime. In the whole energy field and technology field, the entrepreneurs will find a way to overcome the government. And that's the greatness of America. Where else is innovation and creativity going on in the rest of the world? Is it going on in Europe? Is it going on in China? Is it going on in Japan? They steal our technology.
So you're still optimistic?
I'm totally optimistic because the entrepreneurs...
You argue the economic numbers are getting better enough that things are improving enough to help the president.
Yeah, well, I think...
Do you have a horse in this race, by the way? Anyone you...
I do not.
Really? But any of the Republicans interested?
No.
Really?
I don't have a horse in this race. I think he's going to be very difficult to beat. I mean, he's got a big, large constituency of union supporters, minority supporters, and the liberal supporters. He's got a huge base, and so he's not going to be an easy guy.
It's his race to lose.
It's his race to lose.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, if all of a sudden he said, I love the Minnesota Vikings, would that...
That would not make a difference with me because I don't, but it is his race to lose.
Okay. It is so good seeing you.
Good to see you, Neil. Thank you.
He's in town. He's a real gentleman about it. Never brags, but kids go nuts, adults go nuts, women really go nuts. It's sort of like me. But it's so good seeing you. Thanks, buddy.
You're great. Thank you, Neil.
When we come back, remember the Secret Service agent who left the president to run as a